Oh yeah, okay, I got it. So the top you this is midnight. Yeah, so this is midnight with Meika. Also known as Mouth Off with Meika. But tonight we're gonna talk about these things, and I'm gonna have acronym sex. Everybody when you hear the word sex, you think it's. Hey, you guys, how are you guys doing? This is Meika Wash. I know y'all probably not on right now, but I'm not worried. Got my gold book together. Turned the other way. Gold digger. I'm digging for golds tonight, y'all. I'm not going to be on here long. I'm just practicing. I said I was going to launch this today for got to say RIP to my daughter's father, who's resting in peace today. It's his birthday. And then in a minute, it's going to be my mother's birthday, who's resting in peace. So I said, well, let me launch between these times so that, I can honor both of them. Tonight, I will be talking about these vaccines a little bit. I'm not going to touch too deep. If you want to join, I'll put the link in the comments or whatever, the comment box. So let me just get the link for you so you can have that. And let me see here. Don't forget to like and just subscribe. If you want to get in on this live, feel free once I get everything started and get you into what I'm talking about. Now, I'm a little nervous tonight. I don't know why, because I've been doing this live thing for a while. Let's see. I'm just checking to see if it's even going live on my Facebook first. Okay, I don't see it. Hold on, guys. I don't see my live on my Facebook. Anyway, so let's keep moving forward. This is kind of strange because it should be live on my Facebook. See what's going on. It's always some technical difficulties with doing this stuff. I see it's live on that. It's on YouTube. Let's see. That's not it. It's supposed to be live on Facebook. Okay, anyway, so we're going to be talking about carbon dioxide, that's CO2. I wanted to touch on that. I wanted to touch on carbon dioxide and what it is. So what I wanted to do was play a small clip, hopefully it's small, of oh Lord, I got too many things here. I have to think up. With Bill Gates and Dr. Saving. Let me just open it. So, and then I'm going to share my screen. So, in the meantime, in between time, I want you guys to hear what Bill Gates had to say. I don't know if I'm going to get flagged. Everything is for educational purposes. If you want to subscribe to me or whatever, I don't see none of my banners. But anyway, if you want to subscribe to me, you can always look me up, Meika Wash, MEIKAWAH, at YouTube, at Instagram. I have 2 Instagram pages. One is simply Meika Wash, and the other one is Meika Wash _. So it's Meika _Wash. And then Of course, Facebook, you can always find me, Meika Yawashua or Meika Wash on Facebook. I have 2 Facebook pages, and I will be doing a Patreon as once I start doing my subscribers, having more subscribers. I haven't been doing this a lot lately. And what's driving me crazy right now is that this is not going on Facebook. And I don't understand why. So I don't know. Everything is supposed to be on Facebook. Let's see if it's on here. Yeah. Okay, for whatever reason, it's not going on Facebook. Anyway, StreamYard, we'll talk about this later. Because I'm trying to see. Let me just make it into broadcast something. No, and I want to edit that. And it says I'm live on Facebook. I mean, I'm on. Okay. Let me stay focused. Okay. Another thing I'm having a problem with is the screen. Okay, let me see. This screen is so bad. So let me share my screen. That's crazy. I just want to share this. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So that's what I want to do. Okay, so if I share this, do that. Okay, there we go. Now I can share that. So I'm finna play this right now. And I'm gonna skip through all this. Let's get to the point.
So the climate changes will be terrible for them. Also, the price of energy. There'll be too much rain, not enough rain. Things will change in ways our fragile environment simply can't support. And that leads to starvation, it leads to uncertainty, it leads to unrest. So the climate changes will be terrible for them. Also, the price of energy is very important to them. In fact, if you could pick just one thing to lower the price of to reduce poverty, by far you would pick energy. Now, the price of energy has come down over time. Really, advanced civilization is based on advances in energy. The coal revolution fueled the Industrial Revolution, and even in the 1900s, we've seen a very rapid decline in the price of electricity. That's why we have refrigerators, air conditioning. We can make modern materials and do so many things. And so we're in a wonderful situation with electricity in the rich world.
Okay, so he's talking about global warming and the effects of global warming. This is Bill Gates, okay? I'm going to just fast forward just a little bit because I just don't want to get any copyright infringements or anything. I just want to get to one key part. So right here, he talks about CO2, temperature increase, and the negative effects of CO2, right? CO2. When us as humans, what do? We breathe in what? Oxygen. When we exhale, we breathe out what? CO2. Okay. Let me just get. Okay, I'm going to play this and then I'm going to get into it.
The CO2 that gets emitted, that leads to a temperature increase. And that temperature increase leads to some very negative effects. The effects on the weather, perhaps worse, the indirect effects in that the natural ecosystems can't adjust to these rapid changes, and so you get ecosystem collapses. Now, the exact amount of how you map from a certain increase in of CO2 to what temperature will be and where the positive feedbacks are, there's some uncertainty there, but not very much. And there's certainly uncertainty about how bad those effects will be, but they will be extremely bad. I asked the top scientists in this several times, do we really have to get down to near zero? Can't we just, cut it in half or a quarter? And the answer is that until we get near to zero, the temperature will continue to rise. And so that's a big challenge. It's very different than saying, we're a 12-foot high truck trying to get under a 10-foot.
Okay. So for you guys that don't understand what he just said, he said that we need to get carbon dioxide down to zero. Carbon dioxide down to zero, okay? He wants carbon dioxide down to zero, okay? One way to stop carbon dioxide from being emitted is what? By us not breathing it out, right? By us staying in our homes, right? By us breathing in our own CO2, right? Okay, now, this is something interesting that I really want you guys to pay attention to. We already seen this clip. If you want to see the full clip, it's called Innovating to Zero by Bill Gates. You can find it on YouTube. I'm not going to put the link in the chat or anything. It's Innovating to Zero by Bill Gates, okay? So you guys could YouTube that to find it. Innovating to Zero. Bill Gates wants to bring CO2 down to zero, okay? Damn near got the black power fist, but I'm finna get into it because it's gonna take some time for me to completely give you the full. So give me a chance to show you, okay? So we got that. Now, I want to hit on Dr. Sebi and what he has to say about carbon dioxide, okay? Let me just see. I might have to fast forward some of the about Dr. Sebi. I'm not sure because it's something that's very. If you guys don't have this one, it's called Dr. Sebi Carbon Papers. Okay.
Welcome to the OSHA Research Institute. Today we're going to take time out to clarify much of the misconceptions and misunderstanding about healing and nutrition. The OSHA Research Institute has selected Dr. Sebi, your brother and servant.
Let's see. I'm just fast forwarding.
Easily see or understand that if God is the creator, the milk of an 1985, which is approximately 17 years ago, the OSHA Research Institute took a position and showed the public of New York on WLI that carrots are artificial. Because they are artificial, they are unable to deliver the.
Well, I'm trying to just get to the part where he's saying.
So what we
carbon
are noticing is that there is gross misinformation when it relates to healing and nutrition. Because if in 1985 we didn't know that carrots was artificial, what else exists that we are unaware of? Well, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, there's much more. The reconnection does not allow for inconsistencies to prevail. For instance, if one is cosmically connected, meaning connected to the dictates of God Almighty, the Creator, one would never allow oneself to indulge in something other than those things that are of creation and creator. You see, the things that God created, from the milk of a bison to the honey of a bee to the substance of a burdock plant and the kalawala, which is one of the most powerful plants in the world. These plants are electrical, opposed to comfrey, opposed to aloe vera, ginseng, rose hips, and vitamins. You see, the difference is one is electrical, one is non-electrical. And the non-electrical contains what? Starch as a base. So you see, in the reconnection, we find that we begin to clarify much of the inconsistencies. Go into this little other part that is most unnecessary. In the year of 1985, the Usha Research Institute placed an ad in the Village Voice, the Amsterdam News, and the New York Post that AIDS has been cured by the Usha Research Institute. And we specialize in cures for sickle cell, lupus, herpes, blindness, cancer, insanity, impotence, and others. When the Attorney General saw this ad, he could not, under any circumstances, accept that this ad was representing something that was accomplished. According to him, this could not be true. But what the Attorney General of New York didn't know about those of us who are members of the Usha Research Institute is that we were aware that until that day of September of 1985, we were aware that until that date, September of 1985, there's no record. There are no records showing that someone somewhere on this planet had cured these diseases that before mentioned. So how could the Attorney General, Mr. Robert Abrams of New York, could have believed that this was possible? Now, it became a thing of confrontation, which was unnecessary. We said that this is the reconnection. But in the reconnection, we find carbon that we have yet to understand or to study carbon. We are told that melanin is what makes pigmentation the color that it is. We have been fed melanin like we have been fed protein, like we have been fed vitamins and enzymes. These are words that we have yet to dissect and to understand the meaning and their function. Well, in the reconnection, we find.
Okay, I don't know if anybody heard that part, but he said that we are carbon. I just want to play it one more time.
Those of us who are members of the Usha Research Institute, is that we were aware that until that day of September of 1985, 1985, we were aware that until that date, September of 1985,
September 1985,
there's no record. There are no records showing that someone somewhere on this planet had cured these diseases that before mentioned.
who keeps the
So
records,
how
though?
could the Attorney General, Mr. Robert Abrams of New York, could have believed that this was possible? Now, it became a thing of confrontation, which was unnecessary. We said that this is the reconnection. But in the reconnection, we find carbon that we have yet to understand or to study carbon. We are told that melanin is what makes pigmentation the color that it is. We have been fed melanin, like we have been fed protein, like we have been fed vitamins and enzymes. These are words that we have yet to dissect and to understand the meaning and their function. Well, in the reconnection, we find that carbon is the determining factor in reference to life. The higher the concentration of carbon, the higher the quality of life. When carbon is absent, life is also absent.
Did you guys hear that? He said when carbon is absent, life is absent. Oh, y'all didn't catch that. Let me just bring it back a little bit. Too much. No, that's too much. Let me bring it up a little. Like 50. 10, 50. My eyes are so bad, you guys. Okay, this is it.
We have yet to understand or to study carbon. We are told that melanin is what makes pigmentation the color that it is. We have been fed melanin, like we have been fed protein, like we have been fed vitamins and enzymes. These are words that we have yet to dissect and to understand the meaning and the function. Well, in the reconnection, we find that carbon is the determining factor in reference to life.
The determining factor in reference to life.
The higher the concentration of carbon, the higher the quality of life. When carbon is absent, life is also absent.
When carbon is absent, life is absent.
Biochemistry supports our position. Biochemistry shows that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, three combined, has to be present for life to exist. But instead of us learning about the function of carbon and iron, we've been fed vitamins, protein, enzymes, and melanin. But when the question is asked about these particular substances, that is very important. One of the most important questions that should be asked: are they electrical?
Okay, so
people seem to think that this.
Okay, I just played Dr. Sabi saying that carbon is what? Where carbon is present, there's life. Give me a second. I'm going to go back to the Bill Gates video. Go back to the Bill Gates video. Hold on.
One. If you sum up the CO.
Hold on, go back a little.
Advanced civilization is based on advances in energy. The coal revolution fueled the industrial revolution, and even in the 1900s, we've seen a very rapid decline in the price of electricity. That's why we have refrigerators, air conditioning. We can make modern materials and do so many things. And so we're in a wonderful situation with electricity in the rich world. But as we make it cheaper, and let's go for making it twice as cheap, we need to meet a new constraint. And that constraint has to do with CO2. CO2 is warming the planet. And the equation on CO2 is actually a very straightforward one. If you sum up the CO2 that gets emitted, that leads to a temperature increase. And that temperature increase leads to some very negative effects. The effects on the weather, perhaps worse, the indirect effects in that the now ecosystems can't adjust to these rapid changes, and so you get ecosystem collapses. Now, the exact amount of how you map from a certain increase in CO2 to what temperature will be and where the positive feedbacks are, there's some uncertainty there, but not very much. And there's certainly uncertainty about how bad those effects will be, but they will be extremely bad. I asked the top scientists in this several times, do we really have to get down to near zero? Can't we just, cut it in half or a quarter? And the answer is that until we get near to zero, the temperature will continue to rise. And so that's a big challenge. It's very different than saying, we're a 12-foot high truck trying to get under a 10-foot bridge and we can just sort of squeeze under. This is something that has to get to zero. Now, we put out a lot of carbon dioxide every year, over 26 billion tons. For each American, it's about 20 tons. For people in poor countries, it's less than 1 ton. It's an average about 5 tons for everyone on the planet. And somehow we have to make changes that will bring that down to zero. It's been constantly going up. It's only various economic changes that have even flattened it at all. So we have to go from rapidly rising to falling and falling all the way to zero.
Okay. So we have Dr. Sabi saying that where there is life, there's carbon. Then we have Bill Gates, who's not a doctor. He's a technician of this stuff platform that you see here. He didn't even create the internet, so I can't give him that credit. But he makes Windows and all that stuff, right? He makes Xbox stuff, right? So he's not a doctor of the body. He's a doctor of he might be a doctor. I don't even think he have a doctorate degree, to be honest. But he did create this here, or stole the ideas of us being able to use our laptops and our computers. I'm pretty sure he stole the idea because I've seen numerous interviews of people he stole certain things from. So that's what separates us, the rich from the poor. The rich, they steal ideas and they take it for their own or whatever. But that's another story. We're not going to touch on that. Just want to touch on carbon dioxide. Now, he said temperatures will rise, right? He said the temperatures will rise. And I just want to show you that who's going to be affected by the rising temperatures, okay? So I'm going to just share my screen. Let's see. Got to a Chrome tab. Okay, so who's going to be affected by the temperature rising because of the carbon dioxide? You're going to get mostly those of Caucasian descent. You might get some of African American descent or African descent, but for the most part, the ones who cannot live in the sun are these people. They will suffer the most. They will suffer the most by climate change. African Americans or people of African descent have a better chance at survival when it comes to the sun or the coldness, to be honest. We could thrive in either, right? These people, they can't. I think I've seen probably one black person with sunburn on here, but this is what the sun does to them. It tears up their skin. Okay. So this is what they're afraid of. They are afraid of the sun. Okay. They cannot live in the sun. And I'm sorry. It's just the truth. Okay. Now, got something else I want to share. Let's see about that. Okay, let me go back to the carbon. So how we breathe, right? I want to share that. I'm so tired, you guys. I just want to go sleep. But this is how the lungs work, right? So this is from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, okay? Your lungs are a pair of organs in your chest. They have a spongy texture and are pinkish gray in color. When you inhale, breathe in, air enters your lungs, and oxygen from the air moves from your lungs to your blood. At the same time, carbon dioxide and waste gas moves from your blood to the lungs and is exhaled when you breathe out. This process is called gas exchange and is essential to life. Let me make that clear. It is essential to life, right? And so when we talk about Bill Gates saying that we're going to bring carbon to zero, and see, carbon dioxide is just two carbons. It's two carbons connected, right? So when Bill Gates say he got to reduce carbon, he's basically saying he has to reduce life, period. The only way to reduce carbon is to reduce life. And the people that have the most carbon is, according to Dr. Sabi, is African American descent. I got more information on Dr. Sabi. I will play that video in a minute, but just let me get you to where I'm at. In addition to the lungs, your respiratory system includes a trachea, windpipe, muscle, and chest wall and diaphragm, blood vessels, and tissue that make breathing and gas exchange possible. Your brain controls your breathing rate, how fast or slow you breathe, by sensing your body's need for oxygen and its need to get rid of carbon dioxide. Okay, now this is the problem I'm having, right? With this COVID-19 mess going on, what's going on is a lot of people, lungs are collapsing. Their lungs are collapsing. It's something stopping them from breathing. It's something stopping them from exhaling carbon dioxide. This particular vaccine was created to reduce the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I can't. The word is on to one side. Is to prevent exhaling carbon dioxide. Period. That's what the COVID-19 is for, to prevent carbon dioxide or carbon being emitted. That's the word. Emitted into the earth. They do not want carbon emitted into the earth. That's the reason for the mask. Even though the mask does not completely stop carbon dioxide from being emitted to the earth, it makes us have to recirculate the carbon dioxide so as much won't be emitted into the earth. Do you hear me? You guys got to follow me on this, okay? Because this is serious. This is serious. Okay? So, I just pray that everybody got ears, let them hear, okay? Now, Did I stop this? Okay, no, that's a stream. So let's go. Oh, okay. So I got this one here. Let me show this. Let me see if I'm sharing the screen. Oh, wait a minute. So let me share this. So what is the respiratory system? Let me just play this for a second. I'm not gonna play all of it, you guys, because it's just 7 minutes and stuff. For educational purposes only.
And live.
Let me see. Okay.
Trachea, also known as the windpipe. Your lungs are responsible for getting air into your body. As the air passes through the trachea, it enters the lungs. This is where oxygen in a person's breath enters the bloodstream. At the same time, the waste from the blood, called carbon dioxide, is transferred into the lungs and then exhaled. Passing oxygen through the lungs is dependent on the surrounding muscles. The main breathing muscle is the diaphragm. The diaphragm muscle is just below your rib cage and under the lungs. It works like a pump, pulling oxygen into your lungs and pushing carbon dioxide out. Breathing does not depend on the diaphragm alone. There are other muscles that assist the breathing effort. These include muscles surrounding the ribs, abdominal or belly muscles, muscles in the neck, shoulders, and chest. Inhaling, the muscles in the chest, neck, and shoulders all expand the chest wall to help pull air into the lungs. When exhaling, the muscles relax and the space inside the chest gets smaller, increasing the pressure. The rising pressure helps push the air out of the lungs. The abdominal muscles also contract to help a person cough forcefully. Coughing is one of the most important things you can perform. Talking for long periods of time, laughing, singing, and yelling require active contraction of the abdominal muscles. Brain injuries can affect the parts of the brain that control or regulate breathing. Normally, the brain sends signals to the body that tell us to breathe and how often.
Okay. So everybody got that rundown on how the lungs work, okay? We inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide, okay? I'm telling you, this stuff is all connected, okay? Now, I got one more thing I want to show you guys. Hold on. One more thing I want to show you. This is another Dr. Sabi. Hold on. I want to make it small. Okay. Yeah, so I could kind of see it. The audio on this is a little messed up because of when they recorded it, I guess. But let me see. Oh, that audio is so horrible on there. I don't want this big. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, now share screen. Now.
Honor for me today.
I was born in a small.
For a quick second.
Of course.
I'm sorry. When you started off, you were referring to yourself in the third person, and you switched to the first person. Do you see who you were earlier in your life as sort of a different person, as the
At 14 years of age, but I didn't know that I would become. I feel I don't share that with most people because it's so. Each factor had a lot with healing, and the herbalists then, like the herbalists today,
Hold on, you guys. I'm trying to
So
find.
I said, if Jesus cured with herbs, Hippocrates cured with herbs, and God said the herbs, then what's up? Why aren't we curing with herbs today? So I said, one day when I went to work, my wife and I was talking all night. We were engaged in this conversation about these herbs. So Ma said to me that there could be something locked someplace that prevent us from accomplishing the goals that Jesus Christ and Hippocrates accomplished. When I went to work that night, I found it. I laughed. Oh, I was so happy. I was extremely happy because I said, it is required of us to maintain the pH at 6.9. At 7, which is the neutral zone, pH of 7 is neutral. And if it is slightly on the acid side, it's 6.9. And the reason why we maintain the pH at 6.9 is to keep the tubes of the boiler clean, that there will be no life form in there. But if the pH is 7.1, oh, now you're going to experience life. Life form will begin to accumulate in the tubes of the boiler, preventing the radiant heat or the convection heat from reaching the tubes. I said that if life was so powerful that it could exist in a temperature of 450 degrees, then the herbs that heal would have to be alkali on 7 plus instead of acid 6.9. Then I begin to check the pH of all the herbs. I begin to test it. I test comfrey, acid. I test acid. I also tested aloe vera, St. John wort, rose hips, comfrey. All of these things are very acid. Carrot juice is extremely acid, yet the healers in New York then and now are still recommending these acid foods. So I said, well, let me investigate further to see which are the alkali herbs. And I began to see that burdock, yellow dock,
I was trying to get to the part where he say with carbon.
Peppermint herbology to understand the herbs that God made. Extremely angry.
And you had a sense that you would heal people. You didn't.
I want to get those.
Think about herbs in my 20s.
No.
I made a statement at 14 that I was going to arrested and take.
Part of your outlook or your beliefs is that people are at their healthiest when they're eating foods that come from the region of their ethnic origin.
That's not happening.
Right, but that's what you believe.
No, I don't believe that either. What I believe is to eat food that came out of the product of life itself. I don't care whether you're Chinese, Eskimo, Arab, or what. If you eat something natural, you're going to be healed.
But do you believe that people, for instance, that black people should not eat foods that are not
Oh,
indigenous
no,
to
that's
Africa?
a horse of a different color. Black people should not eat Chinese food because Chinese food or even Caucasian food. There is a book out by a man known as Pablo Arreola, and he is known to be one of the most distinguished nutritionists in the world. And he said that if your ancestors are from Africa, your body is not programmed to digest milk. But if you are European, yes. So right there, they're telling us that there's a difference in the genetical makeup of these two individuals.
So if people have a different genetic makeup that makes them react differently to different herbs, products, foods, would it be possible for one group to have sort of the cure for the entire world, or would they be moving towards a cure for people within the same ethnic group?
Well, it should be like that, I suppose. But our experience shows us
that it crosses all lines.
That it crosses all boundaries. Because people come to us. There was once upon a time where there were more white people coming to us. Chinese come to us. Japanese. I just said that Matun just killed a woman in Japan of lung cancer, and she never seen the woman. They called from Japan and told Matun, like Annette, have cured many. Matun have cured many, so it's Atanisha. And they have never seen these people. She sent the compound to Japan, she was cured. We sent compound to Europe, and they were cured. I have a letter from a psychiatric group in France who want me to go and lecture. Why? Because someone with schizophrenia was cured that they know about. So these compounds cured everyone, whether you're black, white, Chinese, or Eskimo, providing they're natural. But the substance that you're going to eat as a staple, yes, I agree with you. You are 100% right. It has to be something that is genetically consistent with you.
Okay. No, I wasn't saying that, and I'm not saying that either, because I don't know it. It's something I'm asking you about.
But you did. It was good.
I've heard that you've said that.
Yes, but it was correct.
Okay.
It's apropos.
Okay. And I'd like to hear a little bit about that in terms of people in a relationship between the staple diet and where your ancestors are from.
We're going to give you an example, a good example. From the day that God created this universe and made black people, how many years it has been since God placed black people in Africa? Do you have any idea? The anthropologist has no idea, but it would spout out these numbers for you that God. So what were we eating 4911 until, like Mr. R. Sharpton?
Okay, so
I don't think this shit is at the beginning. Okay, I can't find it. Forget it. I can't find it, but it's in there. I'm gonna find it another time. But if you guys want to watch the full video, that one is called Dr. Sabi Speaks About Natural Healing, and you can find it on YouTube. But he did speak about carbon and us being carbon-based, especially African Americans. He discusses how most of us think that melanin is melanin, but you know, these Europeans, they trouble with these words, but melanin is really carbon. So with that being said, you guys, there is a plot, and the plot thickens, and the rabbit hole runs deep. Okay, Bill Gates has been known about to do depopulation, and from this depopulation, he wants to reduce carbon being emitted into the world, because he thinks that it causes global warming. The problem with his theory is that those of non-carbon descent, I'm going to start saying, those of non-carbon descent have suffered since the beginning of time from the sun. So it's basically, he's trying to prevent the sun from getting hotter. See, we absorb the sun. The more we absorb the sun, the more the sun shines. The more the sun shines, the more we absorb the sun. It's a never-ending cycle. Okay, that's why we were told to stay in the house, so we cannot absorb the sun. And I got one more video for you guys to watch. Now, let's be clear. We talk about these vitamins, vitamin E, D, C, B, and all this stuff. But I have another doctor who's telling us what vitamin D really is. And hold on, let me find it. He tells us what vitamin D really is. And vitamin D is really a hormone. Just like we were told, it is melanin. And see, we got to listen to our brothers and sisters that's in this field. We have to listen to them because we were the first healers here. Okay. Oh, before I go to that video, let me just show this video what Biden had to say, because this all ties in too.
Country is doomed.
Hold on.
It is doomed, not just because country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make a larger portion of the population than y'all do. This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans.
Somebody is showing their slip. Somebody's showing their slip. Somebody showing their slip. This is the person y'all voted for. This is your president. Hold on. See, we gotta put this stuff together now. The Most High gave this to me to tell y'all that we gotta get out there and get into the sun. I'm trying to find this video. If I search it or whatever. Trying to find it, you guys. Give me a second. Oh, my next video probably will be about this is crazy. I would show y'all the videos of them putting these people online to show. Okay, here you go. Now, this is something that I wanted to share. Hold on. So let me just share this and then I'm gonna be done for tonight. I'm really tired. I'm not that into it right now. But I just want to get some things out there. Let me get, let me turn him up. I know I got him on. It's not loud for whatever reason. Give me 1 second. I know I turned the video down. I'll come back real quick. Oh, you got me do this all over again? Lord Jesus. I don't feel like doing that over. Isn't it? What the heck? Sorry, you guys. Hold on. Give me 1 second to find the video that I'm looking for. Jeez, why did it do that? Technical difficulties. So yeah, this guy, I found him on Say Nader Network or whatever. Say Nader, shout out to him. I don't know him, but I do respect him because he has brought a lot of brothers and sisters into this consciousness, even though we don't all agree on the same philosophy. Right now, we don't need to even be dealing with the philosophy that much. We need to be dealing with what's in front of our eyes. But I guess philosophy do play some type of purpose in this. I don't know. My thing is more about if we could come together on some key principles and let that be the focus, because we ain't always going to agree on everything. It's just unfortunate how the conscious community is so divided, because there's so many great brothers and sisters in the conscious community.
2020. I am not a conspiracy.
I want to make this big. Why couldn't I make the sound come on when I made it big? That's crazy. Okay. Oh, okay, there's the
2020. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a scientist. And so I approach things from a scientific underpinning. And
nothing. So when I'm not on here, it's not gonna play.
And I can come to conclusions. That way, I don't lead you on wild goose chases about information. Okay? In this year, on the Gregorian calendar 2020, we experienced announcements about a new virus. And it was new virus amongst the coronavirus family. One of 7 pneumonias that are in that particular viral group. So this was a new one. So when you see human coronavirus on the Lysol can, it wasn't the same as the one that they are talking about now. Viruses mutate, change, and they're in families, right? So my position in this whole discussion is that I'm the head of the Aboriginal Medical Association, which is an indigenous medical association designed for the people who are commonly called African Americans or blacks. Those are the misnomers that they're going by, but who are a group of indigenous people who needed an institution that specifically studied the types of ethnogenetic realities that they are dealing with, and to come up with plans of action to protect them in their nutrition, in the whole medical operation and establishment. So that's what we do. So we have a legal right to come on YouTube and these other places without being censored, because we're speaking to the rights of indigenous peoples. And they have a right to do what they want to do too, but we will share the information. So I'm getting to my point, and it's going to be very clear. A lot of you who follow what politicians tell you to do don't know why they're telling you to do it. And I'm only speaking about health, okay? You were told to wear masks, you were told to stay inside, lockdowns, different things were going on. But you don't know why, and you're being prepared. I'm talking to indigenous people for something that's very dangerous to your health. You were being prepared this whole time to get to this vaccine. But preparation was a part of what can be considered groups of people conspiring against the best interests of your health. And I can prove it. I can prove it. Okay? So it's important to know that our health as indigenous peoples is different than Europeans and Asians. Our anatomies and physiologies and what we're required for, it is different. We are different than them. We look different biologically because we are different. That is super important to my conversation. Super important to my conversation. So Pfizer and some other companies are now working with the government, fast tracking to a vaccine. Never seen before this fast. And some people will say, well, they're going too fast, so it must be illegal. Well, according to what they're saying, their approach is different. They're not going to clone or create a recombinant virus, which is what they do. They take pieces of the amino acid chains of the virus and they clone it, and so now they can put it into a vaccine. They're not going to do that. For the first time in history, they're going to do something completely different, according to them. And you can go to Pfizer.com and read this. What they're going to do is they're going to take the little protein that the virus attaches to get into the cell. They're going to take that protein and they're going to synthesize it through recombinant DNA, cloning, basically. They're going to synthesize lots of it. They put it in the vaccine, and they're going to put that inside your body. So now what is that vaccine going to do? It's going to use messenger RNA, all right, genetics, to duplicate the spike protein, which is the protein that the virus that we're talking about attaches to. They're going to reproduce it in mass throughout the cells so the cells can give an immune response, right? This is their explanation, not mine, theirs. and produce antibodies to the actual protein receptor, not to the virus. And what they're saying is this is groundbreaking, because now the virus won't even be able to enter the cells. It won't be able to attach. And then we need to start asking some questions. What is the spike protein? If you're going to clone it, what is it? All right. And according to what conventional science teaches us, a spike protein is just a protein that a virus can attach to. Specifically here, the ACE2 receptor of the coronavirus. I'm talking big words right now, but I'm going to make this really simple for you. I need you to understand this. So let's ask ourselves a question. Are the cells of indigenous people different than the cells of Europeans and Asians? Yes. Are the cell membranes different? Yes. They're very different. And I'm going to prove it to you. You can go look up spike protein variants in Africans, Europeans, and Asians. Put that in your Google search and watch what comes up. Spike protein variants in Africans, Europeans, and Asians. Those are the terms that they're using for the three main groups. All right. So I'm going by what will come up in the search. When you search that information, what you're going to see is, wait a minute. The cell membranes of Asians, Europeans, and peoples of African descent or indigenous people they're different. And what you're going to find out is that we have way less of the spike protein, right? This is important. And they have way more. Why? The spike protein is made by some people's immune cells. Immune cells will come like a flag and stick something inside of a cell that is native or inside of a cell that is foreign. But our immune systems are different, and I'm about to explain it to you in very great detail. So now, if you're going to reproduce in mass proteins in bodies that have way less, what are you doing to that body? This is the black people, the melanated people. But the less melanated people have higher amounts, so it won't affect them as much. That's point number one. So now you're going to produce in your body that you have way less of. And there's a reason why you have way less of it. Our immune systems operate differently. So that's what you can do right now. Spike protein variants in Africans, Europeans, and Asians. Google that. All the studies are going to come up. Now, what makes our cell membranes different?
Yeah, let's get to that.
What makes it different?
What makes it different?
One thing makes it different.
One thing.
The sun.
He said the sun makes it different.
The sun makes our cells, immune cells, different. And let me explain how. All right? Most people don't know that you go out in the sun and you sit out in it, and sometimes you get a tan, you get darker, right? What's happening in the skin? The sun is making a hormone in the skin upon contact. It's called cholecalciferol. Cholecalciferol is a hormone made in the skin by our contact with the elements from the sun. Cholecalciferol converts itself in the liver to another hormone that's called a vitamin. Y'all know from years ago, I've been telling y'all that vitamin D is not a vitamin. It is a hormone. Now, after all these years of saying it, new standard literature is telling the people that vitamin D is not a vitamin.
All righty there, you guys. Okay, so we got to the point. It took a little minute to get there. I'm trying to learn how to be patient and get to these words so you guys can understand. But hopefully you guys could take this information collectively and see, okay, he was talking about protein. and all that stuff. And that's something that him and Dr. Sabi never discussed or anything, but he was getting on the right track, and he's a very smart, educated man. Maybe him and Dr. Sabi is not all the way on the same page, because this guy right here is the well, Dr. Sabi was the progenitor to him. This guy right here, oh God, I wish I remember his name. He could possibly know some things. Let's just put it like that. I don't know what he knows, but he's hitting on something when he talks about the sun. Okay, the sun. Who are the people that thrive in the sun? When us Black folks or African Americans or whatever you want to call us get in the sun, what happens? We're happy. We're happy people. That's why we can go through the most horrible things in the world. We can lose life, lose everything, and we still thrive. We're a thriving people, and we thrive in the sun, and we get our love and our everything from the sun. I hope you guys do watch the Dr. Sabi Carbon Papers video on YouTube, because he really breaks it down, and it's down so good. I didn't want to play the whole thing, like I said, for copyright reasons, and also this is just to share, for, for educational purposes, just to uplift you guys. I'm Meika Wash, and thanks for listening. Okay, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And if you didn't watch it tonight, just enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful evening. And I'm out of here, you guys. Let me get my gold book. As well. So anyway, are we? Oh yeah, okay, I got it. So